So let's move right on into this. Now remember I said that your job is to supervise. Also remember I said that you lost your power. You have no power. Because here's the problem. Most people think the supervisor's role is to mandate and dictate what's going to happen. No. Your job is to observe and report what is going on. Now, if I'm observing that rock star custodian, then I'm going to be itemizing what is going on. Now, if it's a negative thing, I need to report. But have you ever thought about reporting to your supervisor what your rock star custodian is doing right? By the way, they are your rock star custodian. Should you not be reporting what they're doing right? But we don't. So this kind of goes into, do you inspect anybody's work? Ooh, what did you give me that look for? And what do we inspect, since you said that? You inspect. What do you inspect for?
The quality of their work, the cleanliness.
How do you gauge that?
Going in the rooms and checking them.
What are you checking for?
It's their job, what they're doing.
Anybody want to help her out?
Typically, you inspect.
What was that? You're inspecting the weak one.
No, he said typically you would be inspecting, you would hold in on the weak one.
And what are we honing on the weak one? What are we honing on what they do?
Not do.
We're honing in on what they don't do. Okay? When we go in and inspect, what are we inspecting? Every deficiency that we can write down. I'm not a good inspector unless you have 5 deficiencies. You're laughing. Turn it upside down. I mean, completely. Flip it completely over. Your job when you inspect is to find every positive thing you can. Remember, my rock star custodian is the one I'm after. Do you really think that your rock star custodian has that many bad things to inspect? No. So why aren't I listing every good thing that they're doing? That isn't just this normal everyday, they clean the toilet. Come on, okay. They're doing something that you would like the rest of your family to do. Observe and report. I'll get into that further, but you see where my mindset's going? That means we are noticing something's not being documented or done correctly. Yes, we've got to report that to the supervisor. There's no doubt. Your job is not to fix a problem. Your job is to find it and report it. Now that is, that they didn't put the toilet paper in today, that's something to take care of. We're talking about something of more concern, right? What we were talking about, the personality traits. Remember, I'm not talking about whether they cleaned the toilet or whether they swept the floor and threw the trash. I'm talking about they have a family problem, they're, okay? That's what I'm talking about. Now, we can bring it down to the other stuff if need be. Everybody understand what level I'm talking about here? I just kind of want to make sure that we're clear on that. I didn't do that in one of my sessions, and they were trying to figure out, well, am I supposed to tell them when the trash wasn't empty? No. It's very important that we have outstanding documenting skills. Why did I ask for each of you to have a pencil and paper? Because I'm watching how many of you are documenting and how many of you are not. And if you're not documenting, I can tell you, you're going to have a real hard time being a rock star supervisor. Because see, I'm also looking for rock star supervisors. So if you don't document what's going on, You can't pull this information later. You're not going to. None of us are. I can guarantee you that's just the way it is in human nature. So you have to document what's going on so that you can refer back to that. Because here's the thing. When you're dealing with that rock star custodian, and it's time to sit down with their supervisor and your supervisor and have a, whatever kind of meeting it is, you better have the documentation. I mean, every single document. You know what? Today, pardon me, I'm jumping in front. We have one of the best documenting devices in the world. It takes a picture, timestamps it, and GPS stamps it usually all the time. It's your best documenting device we have. You're not there to threaten somebody. Never, ever, as a supervisor, threaten to write somebody up. Don't use those words. That doesn't mean that you can't write them up. But remember, if you tell that rock star custodian you're going to write them up, you have just crossed the line. Because you're trying to say that you have more power than them. As I said before, you don't. You don't have that power. Your goal is to work with your supervisor and help the staff deal with the issue. Your goal is to find out what the issue is, document it, report it, and then the supervisor and you go to help deal with the issue. We're not talking about the everyday issues, right? We're talking about the main ones that we talked about this morning. Correct? Everybody understand what I'm saying? Because you are not qualified to handle that by yourself. Now, whether you think you are or not is the issue. You also need somebody, because at this point, that conversation has to be documented. Right? Anybody, you understand? Go ahead.
So is it a certain point that you tell them that they're going to get a write-up?
You never want to say that I'm going to write you up. You're going to say, policy says that this is a reason for write-up. Correct. It's the way that I word that. This is, remember, I'm dealing with my rock star custodian, right? Okay, so I have to be very, very careful about what I'm doing and how I'm saying this. Policy states, or you know what, I'm not sure if there's a policy on this, but we're going to have to find out if there's a possible write-up for this. You're not saying you're going to do it. That's what I'm trying to say. Oh, absolutely, you have to be verbal first. Absolutely. And the thing is you have to also document that you actually communicated that. So the thing here is I communicate that it's a possible write-up. I document that conversation. Because then it becomes one of these things, he said, she said, they said, later on, right? Everybody started all of a sudden on the same page right there. Okay? See what I'm saying? And you're absolutely correct. It's how I word it. But remember, document, document, document. Because I'm dealing with the rock star. And every single thing. Remember all of the things that the rock star is. That person is analyzing what you said and how you said it and what you said. Why you said it. Right? Because they're doing exactly the same thing you are. They know the game. They're using the game. They're playing the game just the same way. I say game. I don't mean to downplay that. But you understand what I'm saying? We're all doing the same thing. This person is not blind. This person is right with the game. They're challenging you on every single step. So if you say you're going to write them up, yeah, try it.
So you think I can't?
As long as you want to keep your job. And you might not be a rock star supervisor. what was that, Jeff Foxworthy? And you might not be a red dog. Okay, so whenever you're working with them, you need to ask yourself these following 7 questions and gathering information to report to your supervisor. So I'm going to give you 7 questions and how we're going to deal with this in order to document and talk and communicate to your supervisor, right? Here we go. Number 1, has the person been a good worker in the past? Okay. This is my rock star custodian. Why do I have? Well, thing is, could they replicate again and again and perform the same duty? Has there been any changes? Is there any chance that there's any change? Now, the rock star has been there doing this, but I've got to be in tune with can they continue to replicate it? Now, why am I asking this? Because the thing is that the longer somebody's been there, the more things in life and stuff get in the way. And if I'm not, as a supervisor, in tune with what is happening with them, just because they've done it well in the past doesn't mean they can continue. What's happening? What changes are happening? If I see this gentleman with this look on his face, what's happening? Worried about something. What is it? Thinking through something, right? This is simple body language. If I, as a supervisor, am not aware to pay attention to this, what could possibly be happening is that there may be something that they haven't mentioned that they're dealing with that is going to change the fact that they've always been a good front line, my front person. You see, this goes far beyond running and standing on that auto scrubber and scrubbing the floor. Because if that person is my floor care team, and 70% of what we do is floors, and now all the rest of my family is watching him, and he's got this problem, do they know more than I? Typically, yes. That's my rock star. I have to be in tune and in focus. Pay attention to their attitude and their behaviors. They both go hand in hand. Because when we have a good attitude, our behavior mirrors that. If I have a bad attitude, behavior mirrors that. My challenge as a supervisor is to be aware of that, be able to work with that, communicate, and report back to my supervisor that we have a challenge that we need to deal with together. Now, it's up to your supervisor to say what that's going to be. When are we going to deal with that? How are we going to deal with that? That's not my job as a frontline supervisor. My job is to find that out, report it, and then they'll tell me how we deal with that. I'll give you some examples to go on. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, is the employee experiencing any personal problems? That's right where we were just at, right? Now, the first one doesn't have to be a personal problem. It could have been anything. My car keeps breaking down. Is that a personal? Well, somebody says it is, but it's not really as personal as something like, I'm having personal problems. This comes from the employee only. Do not get caught up as a supervisor in hearsay. You cannot afford this. Remember, I'm talking about my rock star custodian, correct? This person, people may hear, but do I really want to listen to what he has to say about her? If you have an issue, and you have a personal issue, I want that direct from this person. This is a challenge, because most supervisors don't want to confront this. No. I don't want to get into a personal problem. Sorry. You're a supervisor. And remember, I'm talking about my rock star. I'm not talking about everybody else. I'm talking about my rock star. This is my go-to person. I should be able to go to this person and we should have a connection, right? I mean, if you're doing all of this with the rock star person, you almost have this is almost a family member. You're wearing back to that family, right? It'd be a brother and sister kind of communication, right? Don't talk about it to anybody else. I got a secret, you got a secret, we got a secret, nobody else needs to know our secret, right? Don't get caught up in this. This is so easy. We're humans still, right? But you can't get caught up in the gossip mill. You can't listen to it, and you can't be a part of it. Supervisory position is a lonely freaking, I'm going to add those other words.
No, it is, you're very right. It's true. The higher you move,
It is lonely.
the more you serve, and the more you are on your own. You really are.
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't want to, I guarantee you, if you want to be a true supervisor, as it said, the higher you go, the freaking lonelier it gets. Because you have to be, and today, I will tell you, as time has progressed on, that's been in the career for a long period of time, 45 plus years, I can guarantee you, you get very lonely. Because everything you do with your work family is, well, almost everything you do is criticized. To the point where you have got to be extremely careful. And now with discrimination and sexual issues, it's even worse. Okay? We need to know what they're going through. If they're having a tough time with their spouse, we do not deal with that. We recommend them. So, do you have an employee assistance program in the school? Is there one? There isn't one. There's something that they can go to. If you find out they have a drug issue, an alcohol issue, a spousal issue, your position is not to deal with that. Your position is not to say, I have one too, or I had one. Your position is not to counsel. You're not in the counseling business. Your business is to observe and report. I'll give you a particular case. I have a week-long master's class that I teach in Orlando. People come from all over the world, literally. I think the furthest away, I had a person from the U.S. Embassy in West Africa come. I never know who's coming in. I never know what their situation is going to be. But I can tell you, after 4 days of spending time with me, it gets pretty, where we know each other pretty well, especially since most of my classes in that are only 4 to 6 people. You can imagine, we get very familiar with each other. At the end of the class, this young lady comes up to me, crying, and starts hugging me. I'm the only one in the classroom other than her. The first thing I do is I mentally think about where I'm positioned in the classroom, and that there's nobody else in the classroom, and here's a young woman hugging and crying on my shoulders. Okay? And I have 2 glass doors and a lot of room that isn't where you can see. So I moved to where I was in front of the glass doors where you can see, and I didn't say anything. She had a reason that she was doing this. I kind of held my hand like this and just let her do what she was doing. She finally stepped back and she says, I have a problem. And I said, what is it? Observe and report. Right? She told me what her problem was. And I said, do you need immediate help now, before you leave the building? Because it was of that much of a concern for me. Sometimes, and you never know when this is going to hit you, you're going to be in that situation if you have done your job right. Folks, this is what you're there for as a supervisor, is to make sure that that person, as we talked this morning, feels that they can come to you and, in this particular case, unburden themselves to find a solution. I didn't have one. It wasn't my job to have a solution. My job was to listen, observe, and then I went to management and said, here's the situation, what do you recommend? I did not say anything more. It was their job to recommend. I'm the middle person. You in supervisory at this level, you're the middle person. You don't go between upper management and this person, that's my frontline person. To this day, I really wonder how she came out with the issues that she was having. Because we sent her to an assistance program that we didn't have. If I had not been aware of what to do and how to do and my job, then I would not have been able to help that individual. This is what you were there for. Let's go to number 3. Are the recent changes with the staff? If the staff has changed, the family has changed, the members have changed, does it upset the apple cart?
Sometimes.
Could. Not always. So if somebody's been pulled out of the, is this threatening someone that's been there for a while? There's somebody that's going to feel like that wasn't a move, and who asked you if you could do that? Oh, I have to get your approval before I can move them out of there? Who are you? Well, you know what? I wish they would ask me before they take that person out. He's my team leader. Why'd they do that? Now, the supervisors do that, and the rest of the staff, the rest of the family heard it, and then what's that? There goes the rumor mill. That was the supervisor that created the rumor mill. Not a good point. So, keep people informed ahead of time if you possibly can. Unfortunately, there's no sign that comes up and says there's this major thing going to happen. There wasn't this big sign in my life that said, hey Dave, you're going to have asthma, chronic asthma for the rest of your life. If there had been, I might have done something different. Now, when we're talking about these people that are going to move in and out of our staff, we usually don't get informed ahead of time. Oh, by the way, we've got a new team member coming in. They'll be here tomorrow. We're moving Joe over to that building. As a supervisor, keep your mouth shut. Have a plan. But if you're communicating with your supervisor correctly, you should have known that. Right? See how it all goes around? Ask your supervisor to intervene if you have an issue. Do not take care of yourself. That's not what you're there for. Discipline issues only comes when the supervisor intercedes. You, that's what we're saying. No, you can't do what you're saying. I'm going to back it off. Regardless of whether you would want to or not. Even if you want to just do it mentally. Here's the thing. We can't let our body language speak. All right? Body language speaks even when we don't open our mouth. You've got to be very careful. Remember, it's the rock star custodian I'm talking about. I've got to be very careful in how that body language is speaking, even as I don't. Let's go for number 4. Are they the right fit for the job? How many people have heard, let's get all the right people on the bus? You ever heard that saying? Let's get the right people on the bus? It's called the little yellow bus. I think it's kind of interesting. What I'm now talking about is if I've got the right people on the bus, or they are in the right position on the bus. So in this case, do I have the right people in my family? But are they in the right place on my family? They're in the right place. So sometimes people simply aren't good at some things. Now, if I'm talking about my rock star custodian, have I really focused in on what they're really good at? Always try to use people's strengths while helping them obtain a new skill or a better skill or improve the skill that they already have. So you've got two sides of the coin right here. I have to be aware of what their skills are and helping them with their good skills and improve those. But now, at the same time, do they have a skill that they're not showing their best, or that they've already said, you know what, I really could use some help with this? Or you can read the body language that says, I need some help. You will get a lot further ahead if you can help that person move on both sides of that coin. What does this do for me? It helps me, as a supervisor, be able to handle those things and recognize those things. What you're doing at the same time when you're working with this person is you're learning these same skills to actually work with the rest of your family. Because this person is going to move on at some point. It could be a person that's going to retire. Or maybe their wife got moved to a whole new state. They've got moved too. Maybe their family had medical issues and we've got to go take care of grandpa now. You don't know what's going to be. Are you looking, and this is kind of where I start throwing this in, are you looking at the right things with this person because there's somebody else that you need to be looking at as your backup? You keep nodding, you're looking at me like, I get this. Because see, the more that I'm focusing on you as my rock star, the more I'm thinking, you know what? I can see something in your family that's going to, I maybe need to think that, if I can get you to work with, I'm always going to be looking at who's going to replace my rock star. It is going to happen to you. I've seen it more times than it happened to me personally. I used to say, when I have my own business, all I'm doing is I'm just making my competition's next best employee. Because they always left me and went to somebody else. That's a whole other game, but, okay? The other problem was that was my problem because I kept letting that happen. But they're always going to be replaced. So you've got to be thinking about, am I letting the next person, because find something that they're good at and praise them. Now, if I were doing the inspections and finding all the good things, where's my wall of praise that I can praise everybody for the good things they're doing? What would happen if you, as a supervisor of people, not processes, so you're not praising them for cleaning the toilet or emptying the trash, what are you praising them for? Question mark. No. Correct. What was that again? One more time. The 9 personality traits. You see what I'm praising for? What we're so stuck in is, did they mop the floor? Did they empty the trash? Was the floor shiny? Did the windows? I don't care about all that. Because my rock star came in on their own time and brought their dog, help the autistic child. That's what I'm looking for. Because that's what everybody else is going to see, that I'm focusing on you. Not the fact that you clean the toilet well. Everybody knows he cleans the toilet though. What do you mean? I clean my toilet just as well as he does. This is kind of a different way of thinking about this, right? Don't praise them for what is their regular, everyday, normal job. Praise them for the 9 traits that we talked about this morning. Right? It's a whole new game. That they communicated, that they had integrity, that a teacher said, I can always depend on them. They're determined, their integrity, they're dependable. You see? Whenever you go into our bucket here and you're nominating your rock star custodian, there's nothing on there about how they clean. There's 9 characteristic traits, and that's how you're nominating your rock star custodian. So when I put up my wall of praise, that's what I'm praising for. Number 5. Have they been trained properly? Oh yeah. Good boy. Yeah, good old on-the-job training. By the way, do you know what, before I get into this, do you know what on-the-job training really is? No, nobody wants to say it. On the job, I didn't train. I just knew what everybody else did because that's what they were taught. And here's the whole thing. All I'm doing is training somebody, demonstrating to somebody what the shortcuts are so that you can get all the way with, you don't have any problem with boss. Because the minute you leave, that's what your people are doing. This is what you do so that you don't get in trouble with boss. Now, I know what they said, but take my word for it. When they're gone, here's what we do. I ain't wrong, am I? I'm right on the line. Yeah, we don't wear those stripper boots. They're hard to get on and off. I mean, I saw pictures of, huh?
Like Roman now, they don't wear them boots, you slip.
Well, I learned from the hard way.
I guarantee you, and I've been down my backside more times than I can shake it.
That's the way you don't fall, too.
I saw a video this morning of a guy on LinkedIn promoting his services of stripping the floors. And here's 3 people with stripper all over the floor with their tennis shoes on, walking around a stripper, and the cords are laying all on their feet. They're pushing the cords back with their feet and the stripper. And I just had to say something. You know me by now. I couldn't let it go. And this was, and he went so much further as he said, we have proper training procedures. And I'm looking at that going, really? You're sending this out to the whole world, literally, saying this is your proper training procedures.
You want to do what I want to do, Pete.
You want to come there? This is OJT. Once that we're gone, what happens with training? I don't want to get into a long thing, but at the academy, we believe that education comes first. Because why am I doing what I'm doing? And what is the result of? If I don't wear stripper boots, I am going to fall. And I have seen a guy go to the emergency room with 13 stitches in his head.
I remember your backside.
You never fall.
Make your backside.
You know, the thing about it is you can do this and do this and do this for a long period of time and it never happened. But I can guarantee you, it only took one time for that guy to get a concussion and have 13 stitches in the back of his head. Now, I've been doing it for a lot of years. I've done a lot of floors. But I can guarantee you, we had a crew that went over and stripped the floor the other day down in Orlando, and they didn't take any stripper boots with them. I said, I'm not going to be part of it. I didn't go. And I communicated with my supervisor. Okay. Make sure that you're doing everything you can to provide the proper training, coaching, and mentorship. That's exactly what I was just talking about. Every single thing that you are doing is being watched by your rock star. When it comes to the training time, are you going to rely on your rock star to go out and do some training? Typically. They're kind of involved in that, right? Whether you know it or not. Because when you leave, you're going to depend on that rock star to keep everything in line. Right? If you're keeping that person in mind, and we're communicating the right thing, and we're doing it, then we're going the right way. So you have to have the details. Why do I have a picture of a puzzle with all these pieces? It is. Because when it comes to this, I've got a whole lot of pieces. There's a lot of pieces to this pie, right? This the puzzle, if you will. As we went through the day, we aren't done yet, by the way. This is a complicated thing. If you're doing your job right, this is complicated. Supervision is not an easy task. I can guarantee you, it's much easier to clean a toilet with a kayak machine and strip a floor than it is to manage people and motivate people. Anybody feel that way? The longer I keep going through the day, the more you feel that way. When it comes to training, remember, what's your job? To observe and document. Okay? So I have to have the training dates, who the instructor was, what the subjects were, and I have to document that. Why did everybody sign in over here? Documentation. When you do any type of what's called training, are you documenting it, or are they signing off on it? Now remember, I'm talking about my rock star. Now I can guarantee you, if you come up on Monday morning and you have a little discussion with Mr. Rockstar, and you go through, now this is what we want to have done, or you agree and I agree, this is what we want to have done, and I've outlined this here. Would you initial this? Do you think that after you initiate that, that you and I are going to be the only ones who hear about that? Pretty soon the whole family's going to know, hey, you know, I had to initial that we had this conversation. How long did it take? 6 minutes. You see what I'm saying? You have to set a different tone here, because most of the time when we have a training, we have a communication, it's kind of like this is when my boss communicates through text. He says, you want me to do something? You want us to do something? It's either email or text. And he says text is the best way. You want me to look at it right now? Send me a text. Now I'm still old school. I mean, this is sometimes about as close, face-to-face as I can get. But he didn't like that. If he wants to talk that way, he'll call me. You have to learn your people of how you're going to do this. Provide the documentation to your supervisor. Your supervisor will then really have a hard time doing much in the way of disciplining report performance. We are not here to discipline poor performance. We are here to uplift, engage, motivate, enhance good performance. That is a change in the culture that we've been in. What are we doing right? Make sure we do more of it and get everybody in our family to duplicate that. Would that not get us along further than where we've been before? That's your decision. Number 6, are they better suited for a different role? Did I go too fast? There you go. Oh, by the way, you guys could take pictures. I told you you could use your phone.
They're old school too.
Yeah, maybe he's not cut out to clean toilets. What do you see wrong in this picture? What's he holding? Well, yeah, right. What kind of, what is that he's got on his hand on his nose? He got through swabbing the commode and then he touched his nose. No wonder he cut out for that job. What else is wrong? No, that's important. He got a bucket there holding it. Really, you go in with a bucket holding your cleaning chemical going in there? There's something wrong there. What else?
Tissue on the back of the stove.
What's that? What? You said there's what back there? There's tissue on the back of the toilet. There's no holder to hold the toilet paper. And it's kind of a little bit exposed to whatever elements. You see, the thing is we were looking at, he's not cut out to it, but my question is, what was supervisors doing? What was management doing? See, the thing is, we want to blame it on this person, but what was happening in this?
He was not properly trained.
He wasn't properly trained, but on the other hand, were we giving this person the right tools to do the job? The reason there is never toilet paper is because we're leaving it out there where people can leave it and be gone with it. So whose fault was it? You see, there's a comedy of errors here. So the thing is as a supervisor, my position is to observe and report. Can I fix all of those?
Yes.
No. My job is not to fix these issues. Understand what I'm trying to say. My job is to observe what I see and report that to the right people to then get it fixed later. I can't go and fix these issues. Can I put up a new toilet paper dispenser? Can I change the product that's going to be purchased? I might be able to convince him not to put gloves on and hold his nose. But even with that, I need a policy change. You see, my thing here is, what I'm trying to get you to understand is, you are here for one thing in supervisory, to observe and report. What did I observe? Who am I going to report that to? Now, I started this with, is he the right person for the job? You see how quickly I turn this back on you. Because if I can't observe and report this, I don't know whether he's the right person for the job or not. Because you know what the problem is? Maybe I'm not the right person for the job. So everything that I'm talking about here, I'm going to tell your supervisors and turn it back on you. Say, what? You going to do what now? Yeah, because you're going to get it just the same as they get it. Be sure they know the requirements. Do you have a job duty list for every process that is current in the last 2 years? No. I can guarantee you no. Those things probably haven't been updated in 5 years, maybe 10. And by the way, we don't do that stuff anymore. How can I expect these people to do the right thing, and how can I say that they're not the right fit for the job if I can't tell them what their current now job duty is? Psalm chapter verse. I am talking about my rock star custodian. If that person and I can't communicate what is going on that and work that out together, then we got a problem. There is no better person to help you with all of this than my rock star custodian. Right? Because that person is going to go back and say, hey, you know what? I've been talking with him, and you know what? We figured out that we haven't been doing the restrooms right. We worked out something, and you know what is the best thing your family wants to do? Be a part of the decision-making process. Now, I can't bring them all in, but my rock star I can, and then I can work through it from there. Here we go. Proper training. I've got to have a list. I've got to know if they're capable of doing the job. I have to have this to work from. By the way, do you have a job description for your job? Not like the one that I would make for you. Am I outlining your job for you? Yeah. I'm telling you what your job should be. This is the outline of what your job should be, not what it is today. Here's the last one. Am I communicating with them? How am I communicating them? What am I communicating to them? What, how, when, what is my job duty, who should be doing what, how should they be doing, my rock stars. Ask them if they forgot something, or do they need to improve something. How would they like for me to address that with them? Here again, ask the question and shut up. Pretty hard to do. So we're the supervisor, we know everything. Okay. What's the best way to communicate? Each person has different situations. It's just simply ask them. When was the last time you asked? Now, this morning, we started the whole morning with what I'm now at, right? I said the first thing was communicate. Who's going to make the first step to find out how do I communicate with my family? Right? It's the first thing we said this morning. Now I'm here, mid part of the afternoon. I'm still talking about, but now I'm asking, who's the first one that makes a step? Me. When do I make the step?
Now.
Correct. There's different ways to communicate. What is the preference that you have for me to communicate with you, Mr. or Mrs. Rockstar? I didn't say leave here and start trying to communicate with the whole darn family. Just my Rockstar. Is it a he or she? A he. Don't mention my name, but I'm just going to say Sam. Sam, how would you like for me to communicate to you? Now this morning we learned that communication is important. How would you like for me to communicate with you? The same thing is no, I can shut up. You had to say something. It's a wonderful thing that happens. And there are some people here that don't want to say anything. You're not saying much. See what he did? He said, I'm listening. You see, the thing is my body language is simply, I look right straight at you, and you're going to talk. Your body's already talking to me. You see, the thing about it is, this is communication. I'd like to add another word to shut up. You don't know that word. Whichever one you were thinking, it's probably the right one. I didn't say that. That's what he was thinking. See, my point is this. We did this when we were kids, didn't we not? Who's going to blink? Who's going to blink? Who's going to blink first? You used to do it with mom and dad, then you did it with your siblings, then you found somebody else doing it because they got tired playing with you. There is nothing that drives my wife crazier than when she says something I just stared at her. She can't take it. And then I'm going to say, I asked a question. And I guarantee you, I can sit here and stare at you until you say something longer than you can. It is hard to do. But I need to learn how to communicate with them. If they're one of those people that doesn't want to talk to you about it, you've got to force the issue. Because if you can't communicate with them, everything else that we talked about all day today is... It all comes back to that, because everywhere along the path that we've talked about all day, I have to communicate all of this. And this is skill. And you are correct if you think I'm manipulating. I am. For your benefit. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because my job as a supervisor is to help you grow. Right? So, leave it up in your mailbox, written. There's some of us that like a written note. Have you ever asked, would you like me to put it in writing? I did not say an email. And there's several of you showed me today that you can write. So don't tell me you can't. I mean, have you ever thought about this? Have you ever thought about whenever that rock star custodian does something, give them a handwritten note that you saw it and that you appreciated? Have you ever tried it? You do it verbally. Are you sure that's the right way to do it? Guess not. Send an email. It is written, but it's a whole together impersonal type of written. Right? My granddaughter says that whenever we write something, that's grandma's special writing. They don't teach it in class anymore. It's special writing now. Now, this is the way that written is supposed to be done today. We're not all there. Maybe it's verbal. What you said. Maybe that is the right way. You see, the thing is if I don't hear from my boss, I'm not really too important. Must be doing something okay. And they don't send me an email. Why haven't we talked? But you got the phone too. He hasn't caught up with the fact yet that I like to hear his voice. Because see, I can read in their voice how they're feeling, what's going on. That's me. Text just doesn't do it for me. But I know how he likes to communicate, which is text. So we're starting to learn now. It's taken us nearly 3 years. Okay? Demonstrating to them physically. See, we're doers. Custodians are doers. We like to see it done, and we replicate what we see done. My last point on this. When you do something, your rock star custodian is watching everything you do. You're always, always, always demonstrating to that person how you want them to be. They are already up here. And you're just getting them to move just that little bit more up here. You don't have to worry about whether they picked up all the trash or whether they got all the sponges off of the window or whether you're worried that they talked to the superintendent right, that they talked to the secretary right. Did they handle the situation of the kid with autism right? Okay? These are the things that you're talking about now. We're at a different point. This is what moves them forward and moves you forward, is up here. All of these ways may be the way that I have to deal with that rock star custodian. I have to demonstrate every time I'm working with them what I'm doing. I have to verbally make sure that they understand. I may have to send them an email with a list of the things that we're doing. But you know what? Every once in a while, to put a handwritten note in their box, maybe that thing helps them stay right with me in the head. Maybe that rockstar custodian is I have to use every single thing in my arsenal to communicate to them how we're all going to move